Okay, another installment of Steve's Auto Care. Alright, so today we're working on a 2000, I can't remember, gotta look at the emission sticker. Let's talk about the emission sticker real quick. If you see a sticker like this and you read, it's not going to focus. Wonderful, there we go. Come on. Alright, and you see this number, this vehicle conforms to U.S. EPA Tier 2 Bin 5 regulations applicable to 2007 model year. That's the actual year of the vehicle. And everyone says, look at the door jamb. Well, the door jamb gives you a date when the vehicle was born, but that date may not be what the vehicle is issued for, okay, or the engine is issued for. So this is a 2007, and as you see, we got the valve covers off, intake and whatnot. Oh yeah, it's a Honda Odyssey, 3.5 liter. It's the A7 motor. There's an A6 and then an A7 3.5. This is the A7. So I'm not really sure the differences. I know the intake's a little bit different on the A6, but I think all the bolts are still the same. So anyway, so let's talk about why we're doing this. Lady has a check engine light that comes on intermittently. It keeps flagging a misfire code. I've already done a tune-up on it, so I know the ignition system's good. And I've scoped all of the coils. I've scoped them all out, and they got a good spark on them. So I know it's not the coils. So I went on a little research because this was throwing me for a loop. And it turns out that if the valves are out of adjustment, that this code, random misfire code, can actually happen. It'll also flag a specific cylinder. And I've erased it like twice now, and we've had a couple different cylinders. So no one cylinder is causing this. It's a random issue. Alright, so let's talk about how we got to this point. Let's go to the parts on the table. Alright, so take off the air box, the throttle boot, as an assembly. Once that gets done, let's go over here. And you notice that I have the throttle body still on the car. And it's because there are coolant lines. Here's one of them. I think there's the other one. Coolant lines that go to the throttle body, and instead of opening up the cooling system and introducing possible an air pocket, it's easier just take the 4 bolts and leave that separate. Just leave that on the car. Alright, so we're going to take the plenum chamber upper cover off. Alright, series of bolts there. That's pretty simple. You still got to disconnect this, and then we go to the upper plenum. Now you got to take this hose off. You got to take the 2 bolts for that actuator off. You got to take that hose off, and yeah, and then there's a hose that goes to the valve cover on here. Then you can pull the internal bolts. Don't pull the outside bolts; they stay intact. You see, they're all in here. Okay, don't pull those off, because all they do is hold the 2 halves of the plenum together. Unless you're going after an EGR. If there's an EGR coking problem where there's carbon buildup in the EGR passages, then take that off. But we're not doing that for this one. So once that comes off, you pull this off, and when you pull that off, take some towels and just plug up these holes. There's so much movement and whatnot going over the engine, to the possibility of dropping a bolt. You can see I dropped a wrench. I got to still fish out way down in there. I got to fish that out with a magnet. So you definitely don't want to drop a bolt in there. Okay, so next, once you take that off, I don't know if this was necessary. I felt it was, because we're taking the back valve cover off, and this is a loom that holds the harness on top of the valve cover. When the harness is in this, you can't move that harness around to get that cover off. This is the firewall valve cover. That's the radiator valve cover, firewall side, radiator side. So I took the time and unclipped all of these little doodads and fished the harness out. It was kind of a pain in the ass, but once I got it out, and I'll show you over here, the harness moves. So that harness is basically going to be sitting about right here, and you can't get the valve cover off with that there. So you take it out of that loom, and then the harness can move around. I even disconnected the injectors here, but I probably would have gotten more movement if I, pulled those out. I just didn't feel it was necessary. On this side, you have to get this correct here. Come on. There we go. So this is going to sit over the valve covers like that, and I'm showing you this because you're going to want to disconnect these. These are for an O2 sensor. I think for both O2 sensors, but there's a bracket here that bolts to this bolt here. You want to take that bolt off so this bracket gets loose. Then you can pull it up, and then you can disconnect the connectors off of the bracket. Then you can disconnect the connectors. So that's how you deal with that part. Okay. I still have the alternator still connected. That's all in place. These are all in place, but that's how you're going to get down to this. So she has the misfire code, and like I said, we're going to do a valve adjustment. And let's talk about the valve adjustment. There are special tools that you can buy, and I don't know, I got this when I was working at shops, so I had a tool truck. I don't know, you can probably get this off of Amazon. But these are really slick valve adjustment tools. Alright, so you have a big one, a little one. Little one's 10, big one's 12 millimeter, and or maybe it's 14. Yeah, I was right. Oh, look, still got the part number on it. On focus. There you go. This snap on, and you can't read that one. Oh, YA, yeah, okay. So 10 millimeter, and 12, and so you take the tool and set it on the deal there, and you can use this handle to break the nut loose, and then this has a flat blade. See if we can get it. See, it's got a flat blade that fits in that slot, and then you can turn it, make your adjustment, and tighten it back up. If you're going this far, I'm leaving a lot of information out, so if you are going this far, make sure that the engine is cold. You don't want to do this adjustment when the valve is, or the engine is warm. So it is warm here, so I'm going to be taking a lunch here and letting this thing cool off. When I get down, or after lunch, it should be cool enough for me to do this adjustment. Oh, that was nice. It fell down there. Also on the emission sticker, it will give you the valve adjustment specs. So 0.22 millimeter, 0.30 millimeter, and cold. Okay, so there's the specs for this deal. When you do these, there's a procedure you can follow where you like adjust the intake valves here and exhaust valves here, and exhaust valves here, intake valves there. You know, that's fine and dandy if you want to follow that. I just always make sure that the piston is at top dead center on the compression stroke. That makes sure that all the valves are closed, and I can do a whole cylinder all at once. Don't have to worry about it. And yeah, it takes a little bit longer doing that way, but then you know that you don't have to come back to that cylinder. The other way is you would have to do like I said, you do the intake valves here, then exhaust valves here, blah blah blah, rotate the motor, and then do here, here, and here, or here, here, here. You know, it gets weird, and it's very easy to screw it up or get out of sequence. So that's just how I do it. It takes longer, but you know, I know it's done right. So all right, I think I've spoken long enough, if you can understand my gibberish today. Thank you for watching. We're Steve's Auto Care. We are in Tacoma, Washington, and we'll catch you later. Bye.